Welcome back to Panda Audiobooks. You are listening to Pursuit of the Truth by a Jen, covering chapters 71 through 75. Su Ming leaves the familiar territories of the South Morning behind and ventures into a truly new and perilous environment. This segment introduces powerful, ancient organizations and complex rules that operate on a grander cosmic scale. He must quickly adapt his Berserker methods to survive in this foreign land, where every new face could be a dangerous foe or a key to the ultimate truth he seeks. Prepare for the saga to break new ground. Chapter 71. The Elder's Preparation. Su Ming left. Once he left, the crowd in the field also gradually dispersed as the people went to the leaders of their tribes and went back to their lodgings in Windstream City. The first stage of the test was over. There would be a night of rest before the start of the next part of the test the next day. The second stage may not be a test of actual combat, but it held a lot of importance by showing the participants' power. In the past, there would be a lot of people who entered the first stage of the test and did not participate in the other two stages, but these people were mostly ranked below the top 50. There had never been someone who had managed to place in the top 10 ranks and bowed out of the other two tests. That was why Su Ming and Yi Wang's conversation caused a storm to rage within the hearts of the people in the field. However, they did not talk about it. They only watched silently as Su Ming left. The participants who were getting ready for the test next morning left especially quickly. They had to hurry up and use the night to train to make sure their bodies were in top condition while getting rid of the injuries they sustained due to the pressure from the mountain in the first stage. The injuries sustained by Chen Chong and the others were not light because they had forcefully moved forward during the first stage of the test. They would require help from the powerful berserkers from their tribes to be able to recover by next morning. Even Windstream Tribe's elder, Jing Nan, did not waste time loitering in the field. Yi Wang's forceful absorption of his berserker blood would have left behind a lot of problems. He would have to go and help him soothe his qi. When Su Ming came, it was Shahai who had brought him. It was the same when he left. Shahai seemed to be conflicted, and he hesitated as if about to say something, but he remained silent in the end. He swung his sleeve and brought Su Ming away from the place towards Windstream City in a whistle of wind. As the crowd gradually diminished, the field became more deserted. Mo Sang stood in the field with a smile as he spoke to Jing Nan, who was standing by his side, about something. Jing Nan's face was no longer gloomy. He was frowning instead. After a long moment of silence, he looked towards Mo Sang. The first request you had regarding giving me the ancient Berserker art was to let Dark Mountain Tribe become a part of Windstream Tribe when you believed the time was right so as to receive Windstream's protection. Your purpose for doing that was definitely to give Black Mountain Tribes by 2 a chance. You will take away 3 of the strongest Berserkers in Dark Mountain Tribe and greatly reduce the defense of your tribe. If by 2 comes to Windstream, then you will use the chance to observe his power. If he doesn't, then it means something unknown has happened to his training. This move of yours, where you kill 2 birds with 1 stone, is ruthless indeed. Jing Nan looked at Mo Sang and gritted out each word. I never intended to hide it from you, Mo Sang spoke, smiling. If by 2 had come, you could then have made changes according to your judgment. If he didn't, then you'd be leaving behind a weakened tribe to tempt him into attacking it. I can tell that you have a backup plan within the tribe. If by 2 was to really attack Dark Mountain Tribe, then due to my promise to you, Dark Mountain Tribe would become part of Windstream, which would make by 2 wary. Due to your understanding of by 2, if he had just arrived at a breakthrough, then his powers would still be wild and hard to control. I would definitely need to lend a hand, or else Windstream would lose all their esteem in the region since they couldn't even defend an affiliated tribe. It would make others think that I'm afraid of by 2. Jing Nan slowly spoke about these things. In truth, when Mo Sang had mentioned that to him in the secret room, he had already thought about all this, but did not say it. He wanted to keep those thoughts to himself and think about it later so that he could make Mo Sang pay a greater price. Now, he found the price. Not bad. That's what I've been thinking. It's a pity by 2 didn't make a move. Mo Sang frowned slightly as he looked towards Jing Nan. Jing Nan's gaze was complicated as he looked into Mo Sang's eyes. After a long while, he sighed. If it weren't because that child looked so different from you, I'd truly think that he is of your blood. Jing Nan lifted his head and looked towards the direction Su Ming had disappeared. To me, he is of my blood. There was a hint of nostalgia in Mo Sang's eyes as he spoke softly. Mo Sang, in terms of intelligence, I cannot compare to you. This has nothing to do with our cultivation. I knew that since I was young. You knew since a long time ago that I would figure out the hidden meaning within your request, and you knew that with my personality, I would not immediately reject you, but would find the chance to reap even more benefits from you. All this, you have predicted. That was why you pushed this benefit right in front of my face so that I would have no choice but to be attracted to it. All of this was not just for your tribe but also for the child, perhaps even more for him. You knew since a long time ago how outstanding Su Ming is. Jing Nan spoke slowly. Mo Sang looked at Jing Nan with a smile. He did not speak. You made him hide his identity and use another appearance in this place to show off his potential so that I would see all of that. With this move, even if Dark Mountain Tribe becomes affiliated to Windstream Tribe, he would not be affected by this. You gave him another path, a path that you did not choose that year. Jing Nan's face became even more complicated as he looked at Mo Sang. You know that Windstream does not mind prodigies appearing in the tribes around the region. In fact, we even hope that there would be other young prodigies appearing in other tribes. Because the moment they appear, we would receive them the moment we find them and make them part of Windstream. We would also give a lot of benefits to their original tribes. Many people don't understand why we do this, thinking that Windstream is jealous of those who have talent. Even if we explain ourselves, no one would believe us, only you know the truth. You know the truth, and you asked him to disguise himself for his own good. After all, if he's too outstanding, then it would be far too easy for others to be jealous of him. Putting him under a layer of disguise is a form of protection for him. At the same time, he won't be burdened by the fate of being one of the members of an affiliated tribe. He can be independent. If he grows up and reveals his identity later, it would still be fine. At that time, he would already have the power to let others look up to him. He could also protect Dark Mountain Tribe by then, which would have already become an affiliated tribe. Jing Nan looked at the few people left on the field while speaking slowly. You made it. I like this child. Let him stay in Windstream. I'll offer him the same help as I gave Yi Wang, just like what I promised before. Between him and Yi Wang, whoever reaches the Transcendence Realm first will become the Berserker's son of Windstream. Even if he reaches the Transcendence Realm later than Yi Wang, with his potential, I will still make him as brilliant as the blazing sun. He will develop Windstream together with Yi Wang. As for Dark Mountain Tribe, once the test ends, come to Windstream. Bai Tu won't dare to stop you. If he makes a move, I will let him know the difference between us, even though we are both in the initial stages of the Transcendence Realm. As Jing Nan spoke, he raised his right hand towards Mo Sang and waved it. In an instant, a small bottle sped towards Mo Sang. There are 3 drops of Berserker blood in there. Treat the extra drop as a present for Su Ming. Jing Nan looked at Mo Sang deeply and turned away, taking a step towards the air. He had to help soothe Yi Wang's qi tonight. Mo Sang watched Jing Nan leave, then looked at the small bottle containing the 3 drops of Berserker blood. His eyes were filled with contemplation. Jing Nan was right in many regards, but there was one thing he was wrong about. Mo Sang did not expect that Su Ming would be able to obtain such a rank. His original plan had been to use Su Ming's mysterious identity to make Jing Nan suspicious. Then he would pay up an incredibly great price for Jing Nan to agree to let Su Ming stay in Windstream. After all, he understood that Windstream Tribe was incredibly resolute towards getting out of this place and becoming stronger. It would not give up any chance to do so, even if it was just a guess. But Mo Sang did not expect Su Ming to be able to obtain this rank. With things this way, the tables for his negotiation with Jing Nan had immediately turned, and now Mo Sang held the reins instead of being forced to go with the tide. It was just a small change, yet the difference in the end results was so great. Perhaps this time, the catastrophe looming over Dark Mountain Tribe can actually be solved. A bright flash flickered in Mo Sang's eyes, and he went towards the people from Dark Mountain Tribe waiting for him in the distance. In the air outside of the vicinity of Windstream Mountain, Shahai was speeding away with Su Ming back to the Mudstone City. They did not say one word to each other while they were in the air. Su Ming was just quiet, but Xianxia was feeling conflicted. He would occasionally look at Su Ming. The person before him looked incredibly normal, and Xianxia had been the one who bring him to the field. Back then, he'd not taken much notice of this person. Yet now, after he had seen Su Ming's unbelievable raise up the stairs during the previous few days, Xianxia's attitude was forced to change. This is a prodigy that can compete with Yi Wang. Xianxia marveled in his heart. Before long, the contours of Windstream tribe gradually appeared on the land far into the distance. As the giant mudstone city gradually appeared before their eyes, Su Ming suddenly spoke. He spoke as the gust was blowing fiercely against his face. His voice seemed to be about ready to be scattered away into the wind, but each word and syllable still reached Xianxia's ears clearly. Senior, I have something I don't understand. You have yet to transcend. How is it that you're able to fly in the sky? If it was before, Xianxia would have definitely ignored him, as if he had not heard him. Yet now, after a moment of hesitation, he opened his mouth and began his explanation slowly. The flight after reaching transcendence is different from mine. The reason I can fly is due to my Berserker vessel. A part of it is also because of my Berserker mark, which has yet to solidify. My Berserker mark is of the clouds. As Xianxia spoke, a faint picture of a cloud appeared in the center of his brows. To be exact, a Berserker who has reached the transcendence realm can walk in the air with his own power. As for me, I can only float. It may seem the same, but the basic principle behind it is very different, Xianxia explained in detail. Su Ming's eyes were contemplative. He asked a few more questions. As they continued talking, they returned to the mudstone city. When Xianxia let Su Ming on the ground, there was a smile on his face. He nodded his head towards Su Ming, then left after turning into a cloud. The gigantic field at the foot of Windstream Mountain was now deserted. The only living beings there were the 8 people sitting on top of 8 of the 9 eagle statues. They were powerful berserkers from Windstream tribe. Before long, Xianxia returned and sat down cross-legged on the 9th eagle statue. Since the seal on Windstream Mountain was broken, some time would be required to seal it again. The 9 of them protected this place until the seal was complete, and they could leave. That had been the case since before. Yet this year, there was something unusual. In the deserted field, a person in black had appeared some time ago. That person was wearing a black robe that hid his entire body. It was the mysterious man who had appeared at Black Mountain Tribe. Chapter 72, The Alliance of the Western Region. He stood there, but for some reason, Xianxia and the other 8 people did not notice him. They didn't know when the mysterious man had appeared, nor did they know of his existence. Even if they had opened their eyes, they would have only seen an empty space before them. The Great Bird, one of the 4 great mythical creatures of the Fire Berserker tribe. They were killed that year by the god of Berserker S. I didn't expect that there would be a fragment of its soul here. If the elder from Black Mountain tribe hadn't told me, I would have missed it. Oh well, he might have told me this because of personal reasons, but since I saw the beast, then I'll definitely satisfy his request. There are just 2 people who have reached the initial stage of the Transcendence realm. They're not enough for me to spare any of my attention here yet. I've heard about Windstream tribe, located at the edges of the Western region's alliance borders. I heard that they were once a weak branch from the great tribe of Miao Man 1. The mysterious man mumbled and moved forward step by step towards Windstream Mountain, which was in a state of being sealed off once again. Su Ming returned to the lodgings of Dark Mountain tribe within Windstream City. His face had long since returned to normal, and he looked like the frail, clean, and handsome youth once more. He wore a simple beast skin shirt and sat down within the lodgings of Dark Mountain tribe. There was excitement and anxiety within his eyes. All that had happened during the first stage of the test was like a dream to him. It was as if the person who did it was not him, but someone else. It was especially so when he had returned to the field and become the center of attention. It made his heart pound even more quickly. When he remembered talking to Bai Ling right before Sai Kong and the old woman, Su Ming felt proud of himself. He took in a deep breath and finally managed to quell the excitement within his heart. He closed his eyes and felt the vast amount of qi in his body. The power that erupted from all 160 blood veins filled Su Ming with confidence. His blood veins had increased during the final moment by 4. They had increased from 156 to 160. I'm now at the 6th level of the blood solidification realm. There's not much of a difference between this and the required 245 blood veins for the 7th level of the blood solidification realm. Su Ming mumbled, and there was a strange glow in his eyes. I can start training the dark blood dust. I'll have to wait a bit longer for the powerful execution of the 3 evils, though. Su Ming sat down with a focused gaze as he recalled everything that had happened during the first stage of the test. A smile gradually appeared on the corner of his lips. More importantly, I've mastered fine control. If my mind moves, my qi will move. If my mind doesn't move, then my qi will be hidden. With this, I won't waste a single shred of qi. When my battle power increases, my speed will also increase to another level. Su Ming took in a deep breath as his spirits were lifted up. With the blood scales, the me now should be able to somehow help the elder protect the tribe and my tribe members. I can fight for the tribe. He clenched his fists with a resolute gaze. It's a pity my powers aren't great enough right now. I only have 160 blood veins. If I could increase them further, that would be great, Su Ming frowned. After a moment of silence, a bright light flashed in his eyes. I have to buy a large amount of herbs and create more mountain spirit. But, Su Ming's eyes darkened. His pockets were empty. He did not have any money to buy anything. Right now, the tribe is faced with a great danger. It would need a lot of stone coins. I can't add more stress for the elder. I have to think. How can I get a huge amount of money? He scratched his head. While he was thinking, his ears twitched. He heard Wu La's excited voice coming from outside the house. Su Ming stood up and opened the front door. From there, he saw Bei Ling, Wu La, Lei Chen, and behind them, the elder, the head of the guards, and Shan Hen walking back. Mo Su has a really great presence. You saw it, right? The moment he came back, he immediately attracted everyone's attention. Even Yi Wang spoke to him. I heard from the others that this is something that is incredibly rare. Wu La's face was lit with excitement. Her eyes were bright with enthusiasm as she walked and continued speaking to Bei Ling and Lei Chen. Mo Su may look average, but he attracts a lot of attention. I think that powerful people are all supposed to be like this. He reached the top from the last place. When he came back, he was really calm. The presence of a powerful person was incredibly strong on him. I can still remember the words he spoke to Yi Wang. He said, I won't enter the 2nd stage of the test. It made so many people shocked. Wu La gestured excitedly. It was clear that Mo Su held a great position within her heart, and she practically worshipped him. Su Ming stood outside the house and looked at the crowd coming back. He watched Wu La's excitement and touched his nose. He remembered being very nervous. He found it hard to adapt to the feeling of being the center of attention. He absolutely did not have the calmness Wu La was talking about. Mo Su had been unknown, but now, he's famous. His name has already traveled to the entire Windstream tribe. Before long, all the tribes around the region will know his name. Bei Ling's face was no longer aloof but was filled with exhilaration and excitement, which was a rare sight. It's a pity he doesn't belong to Dark Mountain tribe. It'd be great if there was such a prodigy in Dark Mountain tribe. Bei Ling sighed. There was no hint of jealousy within him. That was the nature of human beings. They would only compete with those who were around their level. They would find it hard to be jealous of those who had surpassed them by too much. Unless, they were people who they grew up with, and thus, had no sense of mysteriousness, because both parties knew each other too well. They would still be jealous of those people, then. That's right. If only he was from Dark Mountain tribe. Mo Su, Mo Sang, their names match so well. Mo Su. There was a look of awe in Wu La's eyes, and her face was flushed. As she continued mumbling, she saw Su Ming standing at the house and frowned. Disdain appeared on her face. She remembered what Lei Chen had said. He had actually suspected that the Mo Su she admired was Su Ming. It only made her think that it was a form of humiliation towards Mo Su. Lei Chen did not speak. When he saw Su Ming, he trained his eyes on him. After a few moments of scrutiny, his eyes darkened. It was clear that he did not believe that Su Ming and Mo Su had any form of connection either. As for Bei Ling, he had seen Su Ming standing there a long time ago, but he had immediately ignored Su Ming's existence. The aloofness in his eyes was so thick, it seemed that it would not go away. Mo Su is incredibly mysterious. Up till now, we still don't know which tribe he belongs to. Maybe we'll know in a few more days. When that time comes, I'll represent Dark Mountain Tribe and get to know him. Bei Ling no longer looked at Su Ming. When he spoke of Mo Su, there was respect in his eyes. You have to get to know him. Mo Su. Mo Su. I think his powers have to be really great. It's a pity he's not joining the second or the third stage of the test. Su Ming saw Wu La's excitement and could not help but touch his nose again. Maybe his powers aren't really that great. That's why he's not taking part. Su Ming could no longer keep it in and mumbled instinctively. Su Ming, what did you say? When Wu La heard it, a fierce look immediately appeared in her eyes. She looked at Su Ming furiously. You have no right to talk about Mo Su. His powers must be really great. He must have something else to do, or because he has no interest in competing, that's why he's not taking part in the test. Su Ming smiled bitterly and quickly kept his silence. When he saw how furious Wu La looked, he had no idea whether he should happy or feel helpless. Su Ming, you can say all that here, saying this most likely because you heard from somewhere else about Mo Su. But I'm warning you, once you leave the lodgings, you are not allowed to say anything of the kind. This will only bring trouble to the tribe. That Mo Su is not someone who we can talk about this way. Bei Ling spoke slowly while staring at Su Ming with a serious face. He was the strongest among the youths in Dark Mountain Tribe. It was not out of bounds for him to say that. Su Ming. I don't think you should say that either. That Mo Su, you didn't see him with your own eyes. He's just too strong, so strong that even Yi Wang had to pay attention to him. That person is not someone we can discuss. He's really strong. Lei Chen whispered, too. Once he finished speaking, he hesitated for a moment and looked at Su Ming with a complicated look. It was as if he wanted to say something else, but could not continue. Su Ming smiled bitterly again. All right. You three have another test tomorrow. Go back to your rooms to recover. The head of the guards frowned and spoke with a stern voice. Bei Ling and the other two immediately kept quiet and went back to their rooms. Mo Sang nodded towards Su Ming. The praise in his eyes was incredibly strong. He did not say anything but went back to his room. The head of the guards and Shan Hen followed close behind him. It was clear that they were going to discuss something. When they went away, Su Ming returned to his room. He knew that there was a high possibility of the elder coming over later. That was why he chose to sit here and wait quietly. He waited for a long while, but the elder did not come. Lei Chen hesitantly came instead. He went into Su Ming's room and sat in front of him, looking at him with a dumbfounded expression. What is it? Su Ming looked at the stupidly honest expression on Lei Chen's face and smiled. No. It's nothing. Su Ming, do you? Lei Chen hesitated, gritted his teeth, then whispered, do you like Bai Ling? Su Ming was thrown off guard. Ah, Su Ming, it doesn't matter whether you like her. This is a friendly advice. Give up. I'm wondering though, is Bai Ling really that beautiful? She's not as pretty as Bai Fang. Lei Chen mumbled, and there was a questioning look on his face. Su Ming, you didn't go to the field at the foot of Windstream Mountain. You didn't see how Mo Su went to Bai Ling and spoke about walking in circles before everyone's eyes right at the end. Circles. My ass. I don't like him. Lei Chen quickly stole a look at Su Ming's expression and spoke just as quickly. Worse still, that Bai Ling agreed to it while blushing. Ah, you didn't see that scene. It's clear that she likes Mo Su. That Bai Ling is disappointing. Lei Chen spoke once again. There was an odd expression on Su Ming's face. He hesitated for a moment before opening his mouth and whispering, "Lei Chen, let me tell you a secret. I'm actually Mo Su." Lei Chen was stunned, then he lifted his hand to touch Su Ming's forehead, which Su Ming dodged. Lei Chen quickly advised him against it and was just about to say something again when they heard the elder letting out a cough outside the room. Lei Chen quickly stood up. The door to the room was opened, and the elder smiled as he entered. Without even needing a word from the elder, Lei Chen quickly left. He stole a look at Su Ming, then left the room. There was still worry on his face, however. Su Ming's words just now had given him a shock. He thought Su Ming was too upset. That was why he said those words. Chapter 73, The Berserker's Realm Mountain. When Lei Chen left, there was only the elder and Su Ming left in the room. When he saw the elder entering the room, Su Ming quickly stood up. He was feeling very nervous. He did not know whether his actions during the first stage of the test were right in the elder's eyes. While he was feeling nervous, a smile appeared on the elder's face. He sat in front of Su Ming and looked at the frail-looking youth before him. There was a hint of nostalgia within his eyes as he looked at the traces of youthfulness still left on that clean and handsome face. "You've grown up. Come, sit by my side," the elder said softly after a long while. "Elder." Su Ming sat down. The wrinkles on the elder's face seemed to have increased. The traces left behind by time seemed to reveal a person that had experienced a lot in life. "You did well during the first stage of the test." The elder patted Su Ming's head before he took out a small bottle and handed it to Su Ming. "There are 3 drops of Berserker blood belonging to a Berserker of the Transcendence realm in the bottle. Keep it close to you. When the time is right, it will be of great help to you. That is about as much as I can help." The elder looked at Su Ming, and there was a look in his eyes that Su Ming could not understand due to his young age. The method to absorb the Berserker blood of the Transcended realm is easy. Cast the dark blood dust and change the Berserker blood into blood mist, surrounding your body while you slowly absorb it. Use it to nurture your blood veins. You can only absorb 1 drop each time, however, don't be greedy. You have to do this slowly, or else you'll harm your own body, the elder warned him seriously. Su Ming looked at the elder. He did not know why, but he had a hunch that something he would not like was about to happen. The look on the elder's face and his words only made him further not understand the meaning behind the elder's words. "Elder, you." Su Ming took the bottle the Berserker blood instinctively. Just as he was about to say something, he saw the elder smiling and shaking his head. He looked at Su Ming kindly. "Don't worry. It's not impossible to solve the danger the tribe faces. I've already spoke with the elder from Windstream tribe. There shouldn't be anything going wrong at this point. What you need to do now is to train properly. If the day comes and you reach Transcendence realm, if you can leave this place and go explore the world outside, you have to remember to go to Berserker's Realm Mountain," the elder said slowly. "What is Berserker's Realm Mountain?" Su Ming was stunned. He had a feeling that this was connected to his birth. Yet when the elder suddenly spoke of it, the bad feeling in his heart grew stronger until it turned into a wave of uneasiness and anxiety so strong it replaced the shock and uncertainty that he should be feeling. "It's in your heart," the elder said, looking at Su Ming. He was stunned for a moment, and there was a questioning look on his face. "All right. Just remember that. Let's not talk about this anymore. I've already spoken with the elder of Windstream tribe. You'll be staying in Windstream tribe as Mo Su from now on. The elder of Windstream tribe will be helping and guiding you together with Yi Wang. This will be a great help to you, and his help will far exceed the amount of help I can give you. The chances of you transcending will also increase." The elder's face was serious as he looked at Su Ming. When he saw hesitation on Su Ming's face and that he was about to speak, he became stern. "But, elder, I don't want to stay in Windstream tribe. The elder's words were too sudden, causing Su Ming to be completely unprepared for it. He did not expect it. If he knew from the start that such a change would happen due to the results of the first stage of the test, then he would have definitely not gotten such a high ranking. Yet before he could even finish speaking in his alarm, the elder's eyes became fierce. Su Ming, I've already decided on this. You must stay here from now on, the elder spoke sternly. Su Ming fell silent, but the unyielding look in his eyes was clear. When he saw the stubborn look in Su Ming's eyes, the elder sighed and his expression softened. He looked at Su Ming and spoke slowly. Su Ming, Dark Mountain Tribe is not far from Windstream. You can come back anytime you want. Su Ming bit into his lip. He did not know what to say. Besides, I've already decided. Dark Mountain Tribe will join Windstream Tribe and leave Dark Mountain. We will build a new tribe outside the Mudstone City. Truth be told, you'll be really close to the tribe, the elder continued saying. But elder, I don't want to become part of Windstream Tribe. I'm a member of Dark Mountain Tribe. Su Ming said in a low voice after hesitating for a moment. The elder looked quietly at Su Ming. After a long while, he spoke again. Su Ming, besides doing it for your own good, I'm asking you to join Windstream Tribe for another reason. Your status will rise just as your powers will rise. Once you're at the same level as Yi Wang, then you can protect Dark Mountain Tribe from your side. Don't you want to take care of Dark Mountain Tribe? Su Ming was stunned. How about this? This isn't a matter of urgency. You don't have to think too much about it. Once all this ends and Dark Mountain Tribe migrates here, you can make your decision. When that time comes, I'll send you here. You don't even have to stay in the city. You can continue staying in Dark Mountain Tribe. How does that sound? The elder smiled and ruffled Su Ming's hair. Su Ming let out a sigh of relief. After a moment of thought, he nodded his head obediently. If that was the case, he could accept it. Within Su Ming's heart, he only belonged to one tribe, and that was Dark Mountain Tribe. All right. Since you're not taking part in the next 2 tests, stay in Windstream Tribe for the next few days and get yourself familiar with the place. Once Bei Ling and the others are done with the tests, we'll be returning to the tribe. The elder smiled and stood up. He did not ask how Su Ming managed to obtain his rank, neither did he ask Su Ming to explain his understanding towards the 6 numbers. He only smiled and looked deeply at Su Ming before he turned and left. Su Ming looked at the elder's back as he left. It was burdened by his experiences in life, and as Su Ming watched, his heart twisted for an unknown reason. Right up till the moment the elder left and Su Ming was the only one left in the room, he sat in his spot quietly and thought of each and every one of the elder's words. Worry gnawed at his heart. I don't have enough power. I have to become stronger. After a long while, Su Ming clenched his teeth tightly. He might not fully understand the look in the elder's eyes, but he could tell that things were not as the elder said. The danger looming over the tribe might not be as easily resolved as he said. I won't be able to perform any more burning of blood within this short period of time. If I want to become stronger, then I can only create more pills. Then I'll need a lot of stone coins, Su Ming frowned. What he lacked right now was money. What should I do? I've already sold scattering dust once. I wonder if it attracted any attention. But if I don't sell it again, then I won't get any money. But if someone had already caught wind of this, then I can't sell the pills again. Su Ming was cracking his head for all possible methods, but he could not find a solution. Looks like I'll have to ask the elder for some stone coins, Su Ming sighed. He absolutely did not want to add to the elder's burdens. According to his plans, he would require a large amount of stone coins this time. Su Ming stood up straight and was just about to find the elder when he stopped as a thought appeared in his head. He stood by the door with bright eyes while the thought became increasingly clearer in his head. After a while, Su Ming decided to sit down and think. He then took out a bottle from his bosom. There were traces of light surrounding it. Within the bottle was the green blood he had snatched from Wu Sen some time ago. He had enveloped it in moonlight so that its presence could be hidden. Right now, he took out the bottle, and his eyes became increasingly brighter. He had been working on that thought in his head multiple times, and gradually an idea formed. This thing must be incredibly important to Wu Sen. I heard Bei Ling mention that Wu Sen was on par with Chen Chong in Windstream Tribe, and they're only slightly below Yi Wang. This person has always ranked within the top 3 in the previous tests, but this time, he was only in the 12th place. Even if it was due to Bai Su's appearance that he fell out of the top 3, he should not have dropped out of the top 10. As for this change, there can only be one explanation. He has become weaker. Only when his body has weakened and problems arose for him, would he have shown such a poor performance. There would definitely be no need for him to hide his power during the test. There is no need for him to do so with his status. Su Ming mumbled in his head as he analyzed the situation. If that's the case, then there's at least half a chance that his performance is due to him losing this thing. Su Ming's eyes flashed. He looked at the bottle in his hands and a smile appeared on his lips. Wu Sen is a prodigy within Windstream tribe. Then surely, he must be pretty rich. The smile on Su Ming's lips grew wider and brighter. But just what is this? Why is it so important to him? Su Ming fell silent for a moment. He did not act immediately, but chose to sit down cross-legged and quietly adjusted his breathing to recover his qi. When the moon hung high in the sky, Su Ming opened his eyes abruptly. Now I can examine this. Su Ming no longer hesitated. He took the small bottle and waved his left hand above it. The moonlight on top of the bottle immediately scattered away. Su Ming brought the bottle closer and took off the cork before looking at it carefully. The green blood within the bottle seemed a bit dull. It was as if because it had been away from Wu Sen's body for a long time, it had lost its color and spirit. I have to see whether this thing is useful to me. If it isn't, only then will I be able to move to the next step. Su Ming did not hesitate, pouring out the liquid from the bottle. The fresh blood floated before him. There was no stench of blood coming from it, as if it was not blood. Su Ming stared at it, then grabbed the blood and placed it in the center between his brows. Chapter 74. Is it him? The moment the green blood touched the center of his brows, Su Ming immediately felt a strong presence. That presence was filled with death. It was as if there was a countless number of moaning voices echoing in his head. At that moment, the green blood seemed to have been revitalized and wanted to struggle out of Su Ming's hands before rushing into the center of his brows, then entering his body. Su Ming narrowed his eyes in concentration. The qi in his body circulated and immediately dissipated the presence of death from the blood while also blocking the green blood that was trying to enter his body. He held the ball of blood in his right hand and lifted it away from his brows. The moment it left, a look of surprise appeared in Su Ming's eyes. This thing should have been made with a special Berserker art. It's incredibly important to the practitioner, but to those who don't practice it, it would only cause them harm. Su Ming was silent, sinking into his thoughts and making his decision. With the analysis he made by tying up Wu Sen's weakened state to the loss of this blood, his certainty towards his theory rose up by another 30% from its initial 50%. He may not be completely certain still, but 80% was enough. In truth, his guess was correct. If others had forcefully absorbed the blood of corpses, then it would cause them internal injuries. Even if there would be benefits obtained from it, after comparing the pros and cons, there would be more losses compared to gains. Su Ming placed the blood back into the bottle and waved his right hand towards the bottle. Immediately, a ray of moonlight appeared and turned into strings that surrounded the bottle. He placed the bottle into his bosom and stood up before leaving the room. The moon in the sky was not in a crescent shape. It was slightly rounder. By the looks of it, within a few days, the moon would be full. Su Ming took in a deep breath. He played out the idea in his head once again, and his eyes flashed briefly. He walked out of the house in the middle of the night. It was quiet in the area, and there was absolutely no sound around him. The moment he walked out of Dark Mountain Tribe's lodgings in Windstream City, Su Ming's heart jolted. At that moment, a cold voice came from behind him. It's late. Where are you going? Su Ming stopped. He turned around and saw a man walking out from the dark part of the big door. He looked average, but there was a cold glint in his narrowed eyes. He was Dark Mountain Tribe's Xianxia. Greetings, Chief of the Hunters. Su Ming's face was passive and unmoving as he watched Xianxia walking towards him. I asked you a question. Xianxia moved towards him slowly and stood 10 feet away from Su Ming, looking coldly at him. I heard from Bei Ling that Windstream City is lively at night. That's why I wanted to go take a look. Su Ming was on guard, but there was fear on his face. He spoke quickly. Xianxia looked at Su Ming for a long while before he nodded his head slowly. It's not too safe during the night. Don't cause any trouble and come back soon, Xianxia said slowly. He was the chief of the hunters in the tribe. He was also a powerful berserker who chose to follow the elder during this journey. Protecting the members of the tribe was his responsibility. For him, saying those words was normal. Su Ming agreed to it. After bowing to Xianxia, he slowly walked backwards before turning around and walking into the distance. He could feel that Xianxia was still watching his back. He only took a few more steps forward when all the hair on his body rose suddenly. He could feel a strong pressure pressing on him. The feeling turned into a sense of danger that screamed at him that someone was targeting him. The qi in his body seemed to be on the verge of losing control and was about to circulate on its own to resist against the pressure. Su Ming knew that it was a reflex that belonged to berserkers. Due to the qi within their bodies, if they were suddenly met with an attack, then it would be very difficult for them to hide their qi because they would automatically resist against it. If it was a normal tribe member, then the pressure they felt would not be so strong. Only berserkers would feel the pressure clearly. This was a way to test whether the people around them were hiding their powers. Yet this was a technique that was only useful if it was used by berserkers in the high level of the blood solidification realm against those who had lower levels compared to them. Xianxia's strength was far greater than Su Ming's. If this sudden act had been used on Su Ming before he went through the test, then he would not have been able to resist it. Yet it would still not bring about too much attention, because the elder had cast an art on him to disguise his qi. Even if the qi in his body was forcefully activated, no one would be able to notice it. However, as of then, Su Ming could already control the qi in his entire body through fine control by keeping his mind still. He did not hesitate. The moment the qi in his body was about to be activated, with a single thought, Su Ming calmly dissipated the activation of his qi. This was something that would be difficult for other people to do, but for Su Ming, who had already understood the method of entering fine control by using his mind, it was not hard. However, while qi could be hidden and kept still, the body's instinctive movements when a person was faced with sudden danger would usually be the part where other people chose to observe. Xianxia was looking for that. Nevertheless, he underestimated Su Ming. More accurately speaking, he had never paid too much attention toward Su Ming, hence he did not understand Su Ming. The moment the sense of danger arrived, Su Ming did not stop. It was as if he was completely unaware of it and continued walking forward at an unhurried pace until he gradually disappeared into the night. When Su Ming left the place, a frown gradually appeared on Xianxia's face. Nonetheless, he did not continue standing there. He turned around instead and went back into the tribe's lodgings. His actions were not out of bounds. Even if he did it before the elder, no one would think otherwise. In fact, since he did it so straightforwardly, other people would just think that he suspected Su Ming and was just testing him. Su Ming kept to a calm pace until he was far away from the lodgings. Then, he could no longer resist sprinting a few steps with his heart pounding rapidly against his chest. During that instant, from the feeling he got from how Xianxia scrutinized him, Su Ming found his hidden, mysterious observer of the past few days that he felt during meditation. It's him. Su Ming frowned. He remembered the elder mentioning a traitor within the tribe. Even if the elder did not go into detail about it, Su Ming could tell the worrying aspects about it. Is it him? Su Ming was in doubt. The status of the chief of the hunters was very high, and he held great authority within the tribe. He had control over all the berserkers within the hunting team. He also had the important duty of leading the hunting teams to hunt for food. Throughout the years, Xianxia had contributed a lot for the tribe in Su Ming's memories. He may seem like an indifferent man, but in truth, there were times where Su Ming saw him walking coldly in the tribe while offering his game to the elderly members of the tribe. He had also gone up the mountain and brought back a huge amount of beast fangs because children in the tribe loved them. Even when he distributed it to the lassos with his usual aloof look, Su Ming could tell that there was a hint of kindness within him when he did so. In fact, Su Ming could recall from his memories that during one particular winter, some hunters in a hunting team had been ambushed by the people from Black Mountain tribe and escaped while heavily injured. One of them had even died. Xianxia's face had been ice cold as he went out of the tribe alone. When he returned the next day, he held 3 heads that belonged to the Berserkers from Black Mountain Tribe in his hand. This would have incited war with Black Mountain Tribe if it were not for the Elder's incredible power during that year. The scenes from the past appeared one by one in Su Ming's head. He could not find a single reason for Shan Hen to turn traitor. To him, it was impossible that this sort of chief of the hunters would betray the tribe. Maybe I'm just thinking too much. Su Ming continued to think in silence, then sighed in relief before quietly walking forward. Gradually, his face changed, and his body became stronger. His clothes, too, changed. Very soon, when he came out of the darkness, Su Ming had turned into the incredibly mysterious Mo Su, whose name now rang through all the corners of Windstream City. Su Ming blasted forth into the deeper parts of Windstream City with shocking speed. Wu Sen's house was very easy to find. Once Su Ming turned into Mo Su, he would know where Wu Sen stayed once he asked around. Besides, even if he was well known in Windstream Tribe, only a few hundred people had seen his face, hence he did not attract too much attention. The Windstream Tribe member who had told Su Ming where Wu Sen stayed also did not know that the person before him was the Mo Su, who had been unassuming until he shocked everyone. As for why he would tell Su Ming where Wu Sen stayed, it was because Su Ming had brought out one of the very few stone coins left in his possession. Besides, the members of Windstream Tribe were used to it during these last days. He knew that there were a lot of outsiders who had been fighting against each other to meet the prodigies within Windstream. Yet while the number of people who wanted to see them was great, the ones who were summoned were few. Wu Sen stayed in a house located at the eastern corner of the Mudstone City. It was very quiet there, and it was especially so during the night. Night turned the entire place dark. There may be lamps around, but they were few in number and were scattered around. Su Ming could only see the outlines of the houses with the help of the moonlight. Among the many mudstone houses was a house that took up a lot of space. It was also isolated as it stood out from among its surroundings. That was Wu Sen's house. As one of the prodigies in Windstream Tribe, Wu Sen's status was very high. His dwelling place would also naturally be different. There were 4 houses in his courtyard, which let out an eerie feeling in the silence of the night. The courtyard was very big but also deserted. It looked desolate and deathly still under the moonlight. The 4 houses were dark, as if there was no one within them. In the past, it was not so. Wu Sen's followers would usually guard this place at all times to show just how unique and special he was. Now, there was no one in them. There was no way of telling whether those people had left because Wu Sen's rank fell, or because he did not want others to find out that he had weakened and chased them all out. Su Ming stood hundreds of feet away from the courtyard. He remained silent, his shadow lengthened by the moonlight until it seemed to fuse together with the darkness around him. He looked at the courtyard before him. After a while, he slowly walked forward until he was near the door to the courtyard. Without any hesitation, he pushed it open. The moment the wooden door swung open, it made a creaking sound in the silence that spread around him. The 4 houses in the courtyard were still silent, as if no one had noticed him. It felt like no one was here. Nonetheless, when Su Ming stood outside, he felt a presence of qi from the second house. From the strength of the qi, Su Ming could tell that the person was around the 5th level of the blood solidification realm. It may have been slightly weaker than what he had sensed when he'd returned and cast a glance at Wu Sen, but once he thought about it, Wu Sen's weakening might be continuous. This then would be understandable. Chapter 75, Ill-Gotten Wealth. He stood at the deserted courtyard and looked at the closed door of the second house. He moved towards it step by step without any hesitation. When he was just outside the house, he pushed open the door. The moment the door was open, Su Ming heard a muffled growl, followed quickly by 2 green arms with an air of slaughter and death rushing towards him abruptly. A light flickered through Su Ming's eyes. His face was blank. He had already dared to destroy whatever Wu Sen sent his way when his power had been weaker than his. Adding to the fact that it was night now and his strength was much greater than Wu Sen's, who was constantly weakening at that, there was no reason for Su Ming to be afraid. The moment the green figure charged towards him, he lifted his right foot and stomped on the ground. The 160 blood veins manifested explosively on his body, creating an incredible force. He did not retreat even 1 step. With just the formidable force coming from him, he faced the green figure launching towards him. The green figure flinched due to the force coming from Su Ming's qi and broke down abruptly, turning into green bits of glittering light that scattered around the room, causing the originally dark room to be cast in green light. Wu Sen was a mess. His face was pale as he sat down cross-legged in the house. He glared at Su Ming, a trickle of blood running down the corner of his mouth. It was clear that the moment Su Ming came in, he forcefully cast a Berserker art, but it could not even touch Su Ming. Instead, as the Berserker art was dispelled, Wu Sen was injured. Mo Su. Wu Sen's eyes were filled with vexation and madness as he growled. Su Ming's face was calm, not at all affected by Wu Sen's insanity. He lifted his foot and walked into the house. He stood a few dozens of feet away from Wu Sen and looked at him coldly. Looks like you've truly become weaker. Even those followers of yours who have been offering you the blood from the center of their brows are gone without a trace, Su Ming said, opening his mouth slowly and speaking unhurriedly. Veins popped on Wu Sen's face, but there was also bitterness. He had heard the sound of the courtyard door opening and felt shocked and fearful. He had only heard the sound, but could not feel any traces of qi. It was as if the door to the courtyard opened by itself. Nonetheless, he had felt a sense of danger. It was especially so when the door to his house was pushed open. At that moment, that sense of danger reached its peak. He casted the Berserker art without a care for consequences. Yet it failed. When he was just about to dash out of the house, he saw the face of the person standing outside his house. Once he saw him, Wu Sen gave up on charging out, because the person who came was Mo Su. It was the Mo Su who he highly suspected, but did not dare to offend. He was tied to Yi Wang, and Wu Sen saw with his own eyes what it meant to be a person who could shock the world. This sort of prodigy could only make Wu Sen feel bitter. Nevertheless, Wu Sen was not dumb. He was incredibly smart, in fact. He had a hunch as to why this person came, but he could not find it within himself to believe it. You stole my blood of corpses, causing me to continue weakening as time passes. With my status and how I've oppressed them in the past, once they know that I've become weaker, it won't be good for me. Wu Sen closed his eyes and took in a deep breath. When he opened his eyes again, the veins on his face had already faded away, and his expression was back to normal. When Su Ming saw how quickly Wu Sen returned to his usual state and the traces of his anger and dissatisfaction could no longer be found, and that he had also chosen not to hide the fact that he was weakening, Su Ming grew to admire him a little. I have offended you previously. I hope you don't mind. While speaking, Wu Sen stood up and bowed toward Su Ming. Su Ming's face was schooled to a blank look, but his impression of Wu Sen improved even more. He looked at Wu Sen just as Wu Sen met his gaze squarely. They both stared at each other for a long while before Su Ming laughed suddenly. It's indeed much easier negotiating with smart people. Name a price. Wu Sen forcefully quelled his excitement. He no longer harbored any thoughts of fighting against this person. In his mind, he no longer had the right to do so. He was not as powerful as Mo Su, neither was his fame as great as his. According to his own analysis, this person might very soon be received by the Elder and would accept guidance within Windstream tribe. He did not wish to become enemies with this sort of person. His only hope was to retrieve his blood of corpses and recover his power as quickly as possible. After all, once morning arrived, the second test would start, and that stage was incredibly important to him. What do you want of me? I only have one Berserker vessel, and it is one that matches with my Berserker art. The Elder gave it to me, so I cannot exchange it with you. Wu Sen spoke up after hesitating for a while. The blood of corpses was much more important than the Berserker vessel to him. Even so, he did not dare exchange the vessel for his blood. After all Berserker vessels belonged to the tribe and were not owned by anyone. I don't want any Berserker vessel. Let's use stone coins to exchange it. 5,000 coins and it's yours. As Su Ming spoke, he took out a small bottle from his bosom. The threads of moonlight surrounding the bottle disappeared the moment his hand touched the bottle, though no one noticed it. Wu Sen's heart pounded against his chest when he saw the small bottle. Yet the moment he heard Su Ming's words, he could only smile bitterly. Brother Mo, I only have 3,000 something. Su Ming did not speak. He only looked at Wu Sen quietly. After a while, he put the bottle back into his bosom silently and said, "If that's the case, then once you have enough stone coins, come find me." Anxiety immediately appeared on Wu Sen's face. If he could get the blood of corpses tonight, then he would have hoped to win tomorrow. Yet if he could not get it back today, then when he entered the second stage of the test tomorrow, his results would pummel to the ground. Besides, he had no idea how he could even look for the mysterious Mo Su. If he left now, then even if he gathered enough stone coins, it would be difficult for him to regain his blood of corpses. "Wait. Brother Mo, how about this? Please wait here for a while. I'll go and gather some stone coins now. It'll take at most 2 hours, and then I'll return. Can you wait for me for 2 hours?" Wu Sen immediately said. Su Ming frowned. He cast a glance at Wu Sen and no longer paid any attention to him. He turned around, intending to leave. There was no way he would wait here like an idiot. It did not matter whether Wu Sen would start plotting against him or not, Su Ming would still remain vigilant. "Brother Mo, wait. I really only have 3,300 stone coins. How about this? I'll add this together to trade with you. What do you think?" Wu Sen panicked. He took a few steps forward, then seemingly gritted his teeth and took out a wooden box from a corner of the house. Right before Su Ming's eyes, and with great reluctance, Wu Sen opened the box. There was a purple 7-leafed herb lying within. The herb was very peculiar. Each leaf was divided another 7 times. The order of the leaves made it look slightly messy at first glance. "This 7 hearts is incredibly rare. I found it by accident. This thing costs several thousand stone coins." Wu Sen looked at Su Ming and quickly handed him the herb. The moment Su Ming looked at the herb, his heart immediately raced. He took it into his hands and looked at it carefully before confirming the identity of the herb. This was one of the 2 herbs he had not seen before that were required to create South Asunder. Su Ming closed the lid on the wooden box without batting an eyelid. He looked at Wu Sen with a face as if he was hesitating. Wu Sen felt incredibly nervous. After a while, when he saw Su Ming nod his head, the exhilaration on his face could not be hidden. He immediately took out white stone coins that were worth 100 each and placed them into a bag before handing it to Su Ming respectfully. Su Ming checked it. Once he was certain there were no mistakes, he took out the bottle and returned it to Wu Sen. "Your blood of corpses is incredibly valuable. Don't lose it again." Su Ming looked at him profoundly before turning around and leaving the room, disappearing into the darkness bathed in moonlight. Wu Sen held on to the bottle. As he watched Su Ming leave, his expression kept changing. After some time, he gave a long sigh and completely gave up on the idea of harming Su Ming. Back in Dark Mountain Tribe's lodgings, Su Ming looked at the 30-something white stone coins in his hands, feeling incredibly excited. He had never had so much money before. As he looked at the stone coins that were emitting a glittering white glow, Su Ming could not help himself but bring them one by one to his eyes so that he could take a closer look at them. This sort of feeling, where he obtained such a large fortune, was akin to the feeling when he had previously become the center of attention. When his pockets were suddenly filled with so many stone coins compared to its previously empty state, it made Su Ming feel as if he had just become a spendthrift person. After all, this was the first time he had obtained so much money. "If Lei Chen knew how much money I have, he would definitely be staring at me wide-eyed and stuttering in disbelief." There was a faint hint of youthful pridefulness on Su Ming's face. More importantly, he felt as if he had gotten this amount of money without any effort and without paying much of a price. This was different from the time he had sold that one scattering dust for 100 stone coins. Wu Sen is so rich. It's understandable that he would have this amount of money as one of the prodigies in Windstream. But after this trade, I doubt that he has much left. Su Ming did not believe one bit that Wu Sen had only this amount of money, but there would not be much left for him either way. Su Ming had already thought about all possible future troubles clearly. For one, his power was greater than Wu Sen's, hence even if he met Wu Sen during the day, it would still be all right for him. More importantly, Wu Sen did not know that Mo Su was Su Ming. He had no idea where to look for him either. With these, as long as Su Ming's identity was not exposed, he would be safe. Furthermore, It was also unknown whether Wu Sen would even dare to try to cause trouble for him. There was, in fact, a high possibility that Wu Sen would choose to endure it and not provoke him. After all, Wu Sen was not a fool. He knew how to act accordingly. Chapters 71 through 75 conclude with Su Ming successfully navigating the initial dangers of the new region, but the immense scope of the forces he is up against is now terrifyingly clear. His pursuit of the truth has taken him beyond simple survival and into the heart of a cosmic battle. Thank you for listening to this groundbreaking segment of Pursuit of the Truth from Panda Audiobooks. What new dangers await Su Ming in this unexplored territory? Let us know in the comments. Join us next time for the next episode, as the journey into the unknown continues. Like, subscribe, and continue the epic saga.